Your son does not belong to you. Nothing belongs to you.
Samuel is not here, sir.
Issue the writ.
Success is unlikely, the cost astronomical, and you do not possess the means.
We command you that you bring before us in the Court of Chancery the body of Samuel Hill.
I took the jewels I used to wear.
Under the law, they do not belong to you.
He has stolen my son.
My absolute right as a father is to be questioned, avenged. Open up!
She took you by the hair of your head, threw herself on the bed, pulled you to her, and in her passion scratched you until the blood came.
On Thursday morning, then.
You said that you were up on the mountain block, breeches dropped, but were interrupted before you could access the cow.
So now you would have us believe you were not there. You claim you never saw the purse. Then you say you saw it drop.
Mr. Garrow, less cake, more law.
And in doing so, you lusted then. Is there a purpose after your purse? I say you're lying.
Mr. Garrow.
It is a mistake. I did not do it.
The biggest misfortune is that you are my nephew, and I must pay your debt.
Sir.
You are released. There is an end to it.
And I'm free to do what, Uncle John?
You have not the means.
Right, I will take the money. But I could profit so much more were you to let me be alongside you.
I have not the work for you.
And have not the stomach for me to want to know me.
You are a nephew to me. I cannot venture more.
Am I still to call you uncle, then?
You are my brother's son. What else should you call me?
You say that there were 3 candlesticks on the counter.
And when you looked, they were taken.
Taken hence to the place whence you camest, and thence to the place of execution, where you will be hanged by the neck until you are dead.
Not having the fear of God before his eyes, but moved by the instigation of the devil, did on the 15th of May last, about 10 o'clock.
Spend this also, Mr. Garrow?
Yes, ma'am.
You pull like a dray horse.
Lady Sarah?
Lady Sarah. I have no wish to see more of you. Go away. What is this?
He has issued me with a writ.
Sir Arthur?
Being in need of funds, I brought away my jewellery.
Ah, but it is not...
My jewellery, so I discovered. All I ever had is his in-law. All I ever had. I hope you might find it in some way wanting.
It is sound. It cannot be otherwise. The law is no less plain in that matter than in the matter of your child. Charged with breaking looms and cutting silk.
Did you do this?
We did not.
And have the proof of it.
Can it be said that you had cause? As could be said for all the brave lads who went out that night.
The night Spitalfields burned.
Much good it did. Next morning, the Mercer's soldiery kept the streets.
Matthew Bambridge will bear witness. He spoke against us at the magistrates. It was his house they went into, where Thomas Capel's looms are kept.
Both men are mercers.
Capel is the mercer. He it was who brought the charge. Bambridge is Capel's foreman.
Why does Bambridge take against you?
There was bad feeling between us. Mr. Capel had him lay us off from our work, and he was glad to do it.
And who brings this proof that you speak of?
Catherine Quinn.
Who is?
My wife.
And my sister.
You are brothers-in-law and you are workfellows.
Yes. And now bedfellows in this.
We have asked for you.
You have asked. Have you the means?
What is it?
A guinea.
We've had no work since Bambridge laid us off. We stand near destitute.
I will take the brief.
They are but a step from the workhouse.
Nonetheless, I will take the brief. Much was done that night in Spitalfields. There was breakage and burning, and Mercer's heads were cracked. If they cannot find the men that should hang for it, they will find the men that can.
Their only defence lies in the wife of the one who is the sister of the other.
I believe them innocent.
But their defence is slender.
I spend my days on the Bailey treadmill, Mr. Sudhouse, because I have no choice. It is much of a muchness. But these men are different. They have a cause, and their affliction rises from their love of it. Bambridge is their principal accuser. Do you know him?
I could come to know him.
Are you unwell, Mrs. Sudhouse?
I have a damnable chill.
Then we must feed it. You'll join us? I will mull some wine.
Sir?
Why do you dog me? My duty to you is done. I cannot own you.
Sir, I can be of help.
No, you cannot. Stand aside, sir. Stand aside.
Your looms would be placed here, sir. We work good hours, so you can be sure of a pleasing return for your outlay.
I expect no less. What happened here?
It was the night of the riots, sir. Many a Spitalfields mercer had looms broke, and heads broke too.
Scoundrels. I take much of my business now to Glasgow for that very reason. The common Scotchman is not so radical.
You need not fear a repeat of it. We have hired men on the street to keep order and soldiery from the tower. Those who led the attack here, taken to Newgate and will shortly stand at Tyburn.
As they should. Those weavers you now employ.
All true men in content.
Then let us consider an agreement. Over a nip of brandy?
Oh, yes.
I will take my jewels back. You said that I received 40 guineas from you.
I must have 50 now.
Yes, I thought you would comply. Doubtless Garrow advised on the matter.
You do it to humiliate me, Arthur.
I do it because it is the law. You took from me what is mine.
Is your hatred for me so deep? You delight in my hurt.
You are mistaken. It is a simple matter of ownership.
Arthur. Give him back to me. You loved me once. You practiced to be kind. It would be a fine thing to do. It would set us right, you and me.
You were wrong to hang this matter on feeling. As with the baubles, so is Samuel. It is the law. You served a writ of habeas corpus on me. You invoke the law, as I do. We shall see whom the law prefers.
It put me in fear of my life. I could do nothing but watch.
It must be stopped.
And will be. For the two that were arrested. Now, where is your silk most used, sir?
Where I can best make a profit.
And how many yards will you ask of me each day?
Your men are keen workers?
They are.
Then let us say 300 yards a day. I jest, sir. You have no doubt the men accused were the men you saw.
I knew them both as men who would work the looms. And I knew them for union men.
How so?
Been spoken out for unions many a time. It was known of them.
And you saw them playing?
When I protested, one of them raised his axe to me. He was as close to me as you are now, sir, and I shall swear it.
But will you be believed?
At Middlesex sessions, a barrister tried to shake me. I stood my ground as an honest man should.
You have given testimony before?
Aye. To good effect. Man was hanged.
At Middlesex, was it?
Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped, as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
Which union exactly are you with? Are you Liberty men? Dreadnought sloop? Combinators, is that it? You kept it back that you are Union men.
It tells against us.
Indeed it does. And more so had it come as a surprise to me in court.
Mr. Capel, who brings this case against us, once had 1,000 men at his looms. Then came the machines, and it is 400. As men lose their work, so women and children their homes and provender. Because so many are in want, he pays low, and that at a time when bread costs more. There are many like him, but there are many more like us. We organise because we must.
Right or wrong, unions are unlawful.
We have spoke out against weavers' conditions and weavers' pay. That does not prove us union men.
It weighs in that direction.
Catherine.
A collection was took up among friends. Why do you me as an art shock, Galua? You're Mr. Garrow.
I am.
I'm Catherine Quinn.
What passed between you just now?
Told them they will soon be away from here.
There will be a strong case against them, I fear.
I will not stand against the truth. My husband and my brother were in my house when the breaking was done. We talked into the night. At the magistrates, it was said that Mr. Bambridge's house was broke into at midnight. We'd not gone to our beds at that time.
But there was no one else there. Who might say so?
Where would there be? What did you read from?
The Psalms.
So will I.
I will take my leave.
They sent runners to the house. The letters you sent me to copy. They found them.
The beef is excellent.
It has been 6 weeks hung. The pickle helps it.
The pie also looks promising.
Oh, then cut some, Mrs. Soothouse.
You say that it was costly to redeem the jewels. How costly?
We had, say, 5 guineas.
To bring a case in Chancery?
400 guineas would be the least of it. Though it is a lost cause. Whether or not you have the means.
Does the law never yield to circumstance?
It is not the way of things, no.
Mr. Soothouse?
There is little precedent for any but the father having sway in such a case. If that were not enough, forgive me, you have been stated an adulteress.
It was not true.
Perhaps not when criminal conversation was brought, but now. You must put it behind you. The child will at least prosper as Sir Arthur's heir.
You think I should be content to have my son in the care of that man and his demimonde?
Never. But I do say there is no help for it. And in yearning after the boy, you only do yourself harm.
I forget, sir, you do not have children.
Excuse me. I have said too much.
Samuel's absence is a wound. It will not heal until I have him by me.
I can think of nothing to say.
The gallows cart goes quickly.
A breakneck pace.
the writ. She returned the jewels. All went as you intended. Why are you out of sorts?
It's not enough.
What more could you have done to disrupt her?
Nothing. Hence my mood.
Why must you keep Samuel from her? Why legitimize another man's bastard? Do you want the child? I do not.
She does. And my one contentment is in her pain. Take of them what you want.
I would never wear another woman's jewellery, especially that of a rival. And in any case, these are day-wear trinkets. Did you never buy her better than this, Arthur?
You have sweats?
I do.
A dry cough?
Yes.
What more?
I have fierce aches in my body. I am chilled and feverish by turn.
You say you are an attorney. Do you go sometimes to prison houses?
Often. To Newgate, for the most part.
It is jail fever.
You are sure of this?
I have seen it before.
Will it leave me?
Some it leaves, others not.
Then tell me how I might find myself among the happier crew.
You must take to your bed. Have someone by to swab you each hour. Undertake an inner cleansing by means of an emetic, and also a purgative for the bath.
Will I die from it?
It has a hold of you.
There is work to be done. These two. Sit. We are looking for anything concerning custody of a child. I have such a case at the back of my mind, but I have more than half forgot it.
Am I now to be employed here?
You are apprenticed.
Right, so you will own me now?
I will. And mark me, it will be honest labour. There might be a way. I have discovered certain things. Not least from Chancery records in the case of James Hertford. Hear what my Lord Farnham said in summary. I would be better pleased, and justice better served, if the law of the land should follow the law of nature in a matter such as this. For it must be evident to all that she who will best nurture a son is his mother. It is the only instance of such a judgment. But where there is a first, there can be a second. Change does not come easily or quickly to the law, but it does come. I offer it in hope.
And indeed, there would be hope, Mr. Suithouse, were Will and I not hand to mouth.
Yes. Of that, there is something I would like to say. I have not been encouraging in the matter of Samuel. Now we have cause to advance, there is more I can do. I can furnish the funds needed to bring the case in Chancery.
I could not possibly allow it.
Why not?
It would be impossible to say when we might repay such a loan.
I do not offer it as a loan. I offer it as a gift. I offer it as a friend.
John. I have no words.
I need none.
Mrs. Sylvester,
Lady Sarah.
I propose to apply at Chancery for the custody of my son.
Do you, madam? You will lose.
I thought so once, now I find there is a precedent. I ask you to plead my case.
But you have your advocate to hand, as it were.
You know he could not.
And why do you come to me?
I need a man of experience and skill. One whose reputation goes before him.
I've taken your ward of Chancery case. It is known that you are strapped. I must be sure of the fee.
There will be no difficulty with the fee.
Ah, I'm glad of it. She is determined to have me.
So you've taken on Sylvester to plead for Samuel?
I have, yes.
And the fee?
We have a benefactor.
Who?
Mr. Suithouse. He offered it as a gift from a friend. And as a friend, I accepted.
Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. Will you sleep, Kieran? If you sleep, I shall be alone. I could read to you.
Yes, Carl. Read to me.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
You are charged that you did, with others unknown, feloniously and not having the fear of God before your eyes, break into the house of Matthew Bambridge.
These two are lost.
You think so?
Oh, I'm sure of it. Just as Lady Sarah is sure of me.
And against the king's peace, how do you say?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
How many were they who broke into your house?
I would say 8.
And of these 8, do you see any in court?
These 2.
Say what they did.
They broke a reed and a harness. They also broke looms and cut 100 yards of silk.
What do you know of these men?
I know them to be agitators and troublemakers. They go to meetings where people speak for the setting up of unions.
Are they men of violence?
I had instruction from Mr. Capel to lay them off from their work. I paid them their due, for which they must sign and receipt. As he made his mark, Man Quinn spat in my face.
Garrow, Bambridge gave testimony against 2 men before a reward were offered. It is clear evidence that this man is a black.
Mr. Garrow, will you begin?
Something has come to light.
Really? Really?
8 came into your house. So I judge. And of the 8, you can only be sure of 2.
All had their faces covered, save 3. One I did not know. These fellows, I know well.
You had been woken from sleep, Mr. Bambridge?
Yes.
And do you sleep with lit candles? How did you see the men?
There was a full moon coming through shop window. It was light enough to see a rat had run across the passage.
Oh, I suspect there was a rat, Mr. Bambridge. Were you fearful when the men broke in?
I was.
And so fearful, barely awake, able to see only by moonlight. And yet these 2 men you were sure of, who took no care to cover their faces.
Well, they had their faces covered at first. Their exertions caused their disguise to slip.
Ah, now we have it. So they were covered, but not covered. You would do well to remember, sir, that you are on oath for this, that you swore by Almighty God to it.
I am a Christian man, Mr. Garrow. I have a sure and fast belief in Christ my Lord and the salvation of his blood.
I do hereby declare, as my last and dying words in the presence of Almighty God, that I am innocent of what I am now to die for. That my blood lie to that wicked man who has purchased it with gold and who swore it falsely away. These are the words of one John Doyle. Do you know the man?
I do remember.
An Irishman and a weaver, tried at Middlesex. One of 2 men, hanged outside the Salmon and Ball pub for cutting silk and for breaking looms. Know you the wicked man that he speaks of? It is you, is it not?
My lord, this is of no matter here.
My lord, I will show that it is.
Be sure you do.
The main witness called against Doyle was one Matthew Bambridge. Was this you, or was it some other Matthew Bambridge?
It was I.
And how did you profit by it?
My profit was in telling the truth.
And by the receipt of a reward. There was a reward, was there not? Put up by the mercers and requiring conviction.
It is often so.
Is it? Yes, of course. I'm sure you're well versed in the frequency of rewards. And how long have you known Quinn and Foley?
Worked alongside them 4 years.
Alongside for 4 years, sir. And now you speak out against them.
I was required to tell the truth.
And yet waited near a month before doing so. Why did you?
I came forward when I was needed.
You came forward when a reward was posted and not before. You're a man who will testify for a reward. You're a man who will have others hanged for a reward.
I witnessed from Christian probity.
You witnessed from greed.
My lord! Mr. Garrow, you have said your say.
I call Thomas Capel for the prosecution.
Call Thomas Capel.
That night of rioting, your looms were broke, your silk was cut. Is this not so?
It is.
What damage was done?
The silk alone would likely make £100 or more.
What can you say of these men in the dock?
They go against the law, with talk of unions and the rights of weavers. They're rabble-rousers.
You have heard them speak, sir?
Both, but in particular Foley.
Do you know them to have been members of any union?
I was told they were.
Told by whom?
By their fellows.
Is there other evidence of this?
A letter found by the runners at Quinn's house. A call to arms.
Is this a letter by a group called the Conquering and Bold Defiance?
It is.
My lord, we have it in court. This is a letter encouraging people to illegal acts, is it not? It calls for the setting up of unions and encourages the breaking of looms.
It does.
So we have both Quinn and Foley seen to break looms and cut silk, And we have a letter calling for criminal action, waiting only to be copied and sent out. My thanks, Mr. Capel.
Have you no doubt that it was Quinn who wrote that letter?
None. It was found in his house and it spouts his ideas.
Must this mean that he is its author?
Unless it was his dog that writ it.
Here's the Bible that you swore on.
Yes.
Now, I will swear something to you. If Kieran Quinn will read some lines from this to the court, I will convey him to Tyburn myself. Please read, Mr. Quinn.
My lord, he speaks to Quinn.
Mr. Garrow, you are outrageous.
My lord, you will have nothing from him. As he cannot read or write, he must be read to.
So says Mr. Garrow. It is arranged. The man simply holds his peace.
You heard Mr. Bambridge say that when he was laid off, Quinn signed his mark to get his money and then spat in his face.
He reported as much to me.
Why does a man make his mark? You will answer the question. When's a man not put his name, but make his mark?
When he cannot read or write.
We will continue in the morning.
Watch your rise, my lord.
In the morning, Mr. Sylvester.
I never thought it would go for me. That I do not know my letters.
Yes. Better they had not found it.
Only.
Regarding your offer, Mr. Sudhouse, I cannot take the money, in all conscience.
What has your conscience to do with it? What have you to do with it? I made my offer to Lady Sarah, and she has accepted.
It is a great sum, and it would beggar you.
Who are you to know what it would take to beggar me?
You have 400 guineas.
I have always lived economical and prudent.
I have marked it. Why this profligacy now?
Each man's life should carry at least one moment of recklessness.
If one walks free, it will not be you. They have the letter. Quinn cannot write. Can you?
Mr. Garrow speaks for us.
Mr. Garrow cannot guarantee your freedom. I can. Turn King's evidence against Quinn. Do this and the charge against you will be withdrawn.
How so?
It is the law. Newgate has a smell about it. Had you noticed this?
It is dung.
No. It is death. Turn King's evidence, and your guilt is set aside at that moment. Shackles will come off. You'll walk from here a free man.
But Kieran must hang. He is my sister's husband. He is my friend.
And you will stand shoulder to shoulder with him at Tyburn.
You're not well, Uncle.
Not at all. I had a chill of late, but it has passed.
Why did they fetch you out, Carl? Why were you summoned if no one came to meet you? Carl!
Mr. Sylvester will try your alibi. He will be harsh.
I know it.
He will do his best to shake you.
The truth cannot be shaken.
With your consent, my lord.
Stand by then.
I call Cathal Foley as witness for the prosecution. He turns King's evidence.
My lord, this is irregular.
No, Mr. Garrow, it is not. As you well know, inconvenient, perhaps.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
Juryman, the circumstances here are that Foley has elected to turn King's evidence against his fellow. He is for the prosecution now.
Do you admit to the charges laid against you?
I do.
That you broke into Mr. Bambridge's house, that you destroyed looms, that you cut silk?
Yes.
Do you say that Kieran Quinn was there with you and did the same?
Yes.
Why do you own to this now?
The burden of untruth lay heavy on me. I would clear my conscience.
The burden of untruth must lie on you much more heavily now, as must that of betrayal, cowardice.
God is my judge.
A judge in much closer attendance can read your face. As can I, sir. You do this from fear of death.
No.
By turning King's evidence, you go free. That is the law. What matters truth? You believe that things turn against you. The evidence of Bambridge and Cable, the seditious letter. Your fear is that my lord will not believe you. Jurymen will not believe you. Smell the gallows, you smell the rope. So you tell these lies to gain your freedom.
That is not why.
This man is your childhood friend, is he not? The man you sent to Tyburn, the man whose death buys your freedom. Is this not a despicable act?
The burden of untruth...
Yes. We all know what you've been schooled in. Did you say that Mr. Bambridge saw you with your face uncovered?
He did.
And Quinn?
Yes.
Was that not foolhardy?
In the heat of things, the disguise slipped.
You're repeating what Bambridge said.
Because it is true.
Is it? The seditious letter, did you write that?
I know nothing of the letter.
But you do belong to an illegal union of working men, do you not?
I am guilty of nothing but what I am charged with here.
Who briefed you? Briefed you well. See yourself as a free man, Foley. See yourself on the public street, unfettered, where your lies have taken you. Hear the people halloo and catcall as a cart goes by, taking a man to Tyburn. See the man inside the cart. It is he who you have condemned. Do you look him in the eye? Or do you turn aside from his gaze? I ask you, sir, in the name of what is true and what is honorable, to recant.
What I have said is true. Though not honorable.
Mr. Garrow, have you any more for this man?
No, my lord.
No, don't put him back in there. He's no longer accused.
Put him here?
It will serve. Mr. Garrow.
Call Catherine Quinn.
I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Catherine, I will take you through this if you will follow me. Simply say all that you first intended. All of it.
When Mr. Bambridge's house was broken into, were you at home?
Yes, sir.
And please tell me in the court if anyone was there with you.
My husband, Kieran Quinn, and my brother, Cathal Foley.
And you talked late into the night, all three?
Yes.
Did anyone go out and come back?
No one.
Did you talk until near dawn?
We did.
Your brother says that this is not so. He says that he and your husband went to break looms at the house of Mr. Bambridge. Do you say he's lying?
Yes.
You say that he is self-serving in the matter, that he turns King's evidence merely to save himself.
Yes.
Do you denounce your brother?
I do denounce him.
You came here to speak for these men. Wife of one, sister of the other.
Yes.
You've heard your brother say he and Quinn did as they are charged. Do you say he was alive from childhood, or has he just begun?
He speaks from fear. The truth is as I have stated it.
Come now. You knew they were guilty, but you determined to help them. It is natural. But now your brother turns King's evidence and everything comes apart. Well, one of them is lying. That much is certain. One of them will go to his maker with that sin on his head, be it sooner or later. Mr. Garrow has asked your brother to make in his mind a picture of your husband on the gallows cart. I ask you to do the same. See him in the cart. See him standing under Tyburn tree. His hands are bound. His feet also. The hangman places the noose around his neck. Will he pray, do you think? Does he have entitlement? See it in your mind's eye. The cart pulls away. The rope starts to do its work. Will he go to his maker clean? Or is he a liar? A sinner bound for hell?
Save him. In the name of God.
We adjourn for a respite.
Court shall rise.
We will do all that we can, Catherine.
Mr. Suithouse. Suithouse the liar. Suithouse the imposter.
My deceit was in pursuit of the truth, sir. Yours was in pursuit of money, blood money.
Nothing more than a just reward for an honest account of affairs. Foley and Quinn are guilty both. But to escape, one kills the other.
Their guilt or innocence is nothing to you. The mercers need men to hang, so others will be discouraged. You sought profit from their deaths, and may your soul be damned for it.
He is lost, Mr. Sudhouse. Quinn is lost, I fear.
So it seems. You must play to the jury. You must speak not to their heads, but to their hearts. They may think him guilty, but still acquit.
Pious perjury.
A young man will hang well. His life has barely begun.
Mr. Garrow, have you more?
I shall call a witness as to the defendant's character, my lord. Thomas Cable. Now for the defense.
Call Thomas Cable.
Who is this Garrow?
Anyone who knows him might shed light on a man's character, my lord.
Mr. Capel, be advised that the oath you swore before still obtains.
Mr. Capel, weavers sometimes sleep where they labour, do they not?
Sometimes.
Their conditions are not good. Many complain of it.
Malcontents complain of it.
What wage does a weaver have?
Depends on the mercer.
Very good. What wage do those have who work for you?
3 shillings a week.
And what was it before power looms were brought in? You will answer the question.
A guinea, perhaps.
A man must keep his family on a seventh of what he once had or find himself put out of work by a machine.
My lord, this is not to character.
Mr. Garrow, you're beyond your limits.
Mr. Capel, you must have found Mr. Quinn a good man, a capable man, otherwise you would not have employed him.
I thought as much, but he turned out to be an agitator and a miscreant.
You would have him so. You would have him hang as an example, guilty or no.
He is a union man and a breaker of looms. Mercers must hire men to protect their property from such as he.
A militia who serve you while innocent men hang and the Spitalfields workhouses overflow.
There's work for them if they choose.
A man might think it is work or penury. With you, it is work and penury.
My lord!
Gentlemen, here we have a man of good character who's been thrown out of work on nothing but hearsay. Here we have a man who could earn a scant 3 shillings a week.
He addresses the jury.
Well, once he had a guinea, gentlemen.
Mr. Garrow!
A man whose labour has been taken from him by use of a machine. And who now stands victim to a false testimony and to a friend's cowardice. And if he is given guilty, he is...
My lord, this is an outrage!
He must go to the gallows. Now, is that meat?
You must
Is that
desist.
meat? Is it? If he were guilty, which I state plainly he is not, must he hang alongside murderers and cut persons?
Mr.
And
Garrow, you will
for the
be
breaking
in
of wood and the cutting of
contempt.
silk. Is that a just end for any man?
Gentlemen, you must know that Mr. Garrow was playing you like a harpist. This is a simple matter. Quinn was seen to commit the crime of which he stands accused. More, his fellow has turned King's evidence against him and says the same. There is no equivocation here. Bring me a verdict.
We need time to consider, my lord.
There is nothing to debate.
Well? We find him not guilty.
You will reconsider.
It is our verdict.
Huh. Justice this day goes to rank sentiment. Foley, stand up. You will come before me in 4 days' time. It will be perjury. Expect no mercy. Take him to Newgate. Quinn, you may go.
Violetta.
Did you curse him?
He said, God be with you.
Did I defend a guilty man?
What matter now?
Robert Jones, otherwise called Charles Warner, was indicted for that he, on the 3rd of November,
I shall retire, Arthur.
Good night, then.
I am not wrong in this.
No, you're not. If it brings Samuel back.
Would that please you?
To see that burden lifted from you, of course.
What if that burden should shift from me to you? It is the child you must want, not my release from grief. Can you take him as your own, though he is another man's son?
If you doubt that, it is because your feeling in the matter is so great that it leaves no room for mine.
A sweet young freeborn female is tortured by the vicious Governor-General of a slave colony.
Torture in Trinidad. It's a sensation.
Do I not have claim to the child I laboured long to bring into this world?
You abandoned him!
You lie! You stole him from me!
He used me most cruelly and I want him paid out. Dare you stand up for me, Mr. Garrow?
Well, what's this? What have you done?
Over on BBC Two now, Chelsea-Liverpool highlights with Match of the Day 2. On BBC Three, it's All New American Dad just starting as Stan relives his childhood. And on BBC 4, a couple on the run from a revolution in French drama White Material.